When you hold, one backside.
Wait, shoot. Oh, back.
You want TP or what? Pick
Shoot.
One enemy remaining.
He's here.
Look at that.
What is up YouTube, it's Dr. Zor helping cure you from being a noob. Reyna is the latest agent added to the Valorant roster and we're going to go through all the tips and tricks you need to know to play Reyna effectively. If this video helps you out, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, let's go for 400 likes, and comment your thoughts on Reyna. Do you think she's overpowered, or is she balanced, or perhaps even a bad agent? I'll give you my thoughts later in the video. I also have a Twitch and Discord, so make sure you follow those as well. Now let's get into it.
Die line with the boom pow. Every week now I switch to a new sound. 212s in the back just blew out. Everything I do end up in a new sound. Yeah, lead a club with a few now.
First off, let's go over the abilities and then we'll go into the juicy tactics. The first ability Reyna has is Leer, which can be thrown at a set distance and any enemies that are staring at it will be nearsighted. This is the same effect as Omen's Paranoia, and since you can throw this at a relatively close range, it's essentially like a wall bang. You can also throw this through walls, so whenever you're able to enter a choke point or are able to engage an enemy, you'll want to throw this beforehand to blind them. You'll want to go pretty quickly after throwing this ability though, as the eye can be shot and destroyed. It has roughly about 100 health, so it can be shot down pretty quickly. So if you go fast after using Leer, the enemies will either be blinded and you get a free kill, or they'll be busy shooting your eye and you got it, a free kill. It's also useful to have some teammates behind you to peek as well to guarantee a good fight. If you do hear multiple enemies shooting the Leer and you're by yourself though, you will likely want to back out and call for your team on how many players are on the site when on attacker side, or how many players are pushing you on defender side. Leer will be the main ability that Reyna will be using to get her kills, and from there it's about going ham so that you can utilize her other abilities. One thing to note is that the blind will only work if the enemy is directly staring at Leer. If the Leer goes behind the enemy, they will not be blinded. This is really important to note, as the positioning will be crucial on the Leer to ensure the enemy is blind. So now you've gotten the kills, the enemies will drop a soul that you can collect using Q or E. If you use Q, which is Devour, you'll quickly start healing back health. This skill is what makes Reyna so good if you're able to frag out, as you can constantly heal back and have a full health engagement over and over and over again. The catch with this ability though is that while you're healing, there is a link that's created between you and the soul. If you were to move in a position where a wall gets in the way of the link, it will break and you will stop healing. This can make things pretty tricky, as again the link is visible to all enemy players and your teammates, so your location will be known for the next couple of seconds if you were to heal up. So you want to be aware if a second enemy may be pushing you after the first kill, especially if you're low on health. It will take you that time to heal up, so if you do hear someone pushing, this may be a good indication that you should back off, even though that heal is going to be very tempting. But it's better to survive on low health rather than getting eliminated, and hey, you might be able to wait for Sage to heal you up instead. Next up is her E ability, which is Dismiss. It works the same way as her Q, where you need to eliminate an enemy and absorb their orb. With Dismiss, Reyna will become invulnerable to any attacks for a short period of time, but she cannot shoot in this form. This can be a useful skill if you're facing against a swarm of enemies, you grab the pick and now you're low HP and you hear enemies coming at you fast. You won't be able to heal without getting eliminated, so you can then quickly use Dismiss instead and dismiss yourself from the fight. You didn't get the heal unfortunately, but you did evade getting killed, and hopefully you can run over again to your Sage to hopefully ask for a nice heal up. Other from that, you could use this ability to reposition yourself during a fight, but without the ultimate, this isn't super effective, as you can be seen on where you're moving around with this ability if you don't have the ult on. The next best way to use Dismiss is to get information. Say we run through the same scenario where you got a kill and then you want to grab information on where the next enemies are. You can then use your E to scout for more enemies, take a quick peek at where they are, and then when you see them, you actually want to run back and retreat. You can't really use this to try to outmaneuver the enemies directly, because once dismiss ends, there is a small animation sequence where you will be vulnerable and you can't shoot, and then the enemy can. So you really want to use this as more of an evasive maneuver, or to try to safely scout out an area on the map and then back up afterwards. Make sure when you do use this ability that you are far away from the enemies, so that they can't just bum rush you and put you in that scenario again where dismiss is over and you are vulnerable for a bit. You don't get a speed boost, so if someone is chasing you down, they will be able to eliminate you. So make sure you're aware of that if you do use dismiss. Last but not least, we have Reyna's ultimate, Empress. Using this ability will increase Reyna's rate of fire, allowing her to better duel enemies. Whenever you get a kill, Devour will actually occur for free, and you can heal up after each elimination without pressing onto a soul. There actually will not be a link that's created with the souls when Reyna's ultimate is active and you use Devour, so you can get your eliminations, and if you're low health, you can actually safely back away and you can continue to heal after the fight. You really want to be very aggressive when using Empress, and be sure that you're the first person in so that you can take those duels, suck up the damage for your team, and then heal back up. If you're in the back with Reyna, you won't be able to soak up that damage, and your team will get injured with no way to heal other than the Sage. There's no baiting that you should be doing with Reyna. You need to be the first one to go in first, especially when your ultimate is active. To add on to that, when Reyna's ultimate is active, you can absorb the orb to activate her E, dismiss, and with that you'll be invulnerable like last time, but you'll also be invisible this time around as you move around in that state. With her ultimate, repositioning with dismiss is very strong. I still really like to use this to scout out enemies and then fall back like we just mentioned before, but since you are invisible with the ultimate, you can also pull off some crazy plays by repositioning far behind the enemy as well. You do have to note that there is still a delay before you can shoot after dismiss, so you don't want to be directly behind the enemy, as you can make that sound cue when you pop up and then you're vulnerable again, and then the enemy can easily turn around and kill you before you can fire back. So I would essentially use dismiss in the same manner that I did without her ultimate, but I would use it occasionally to go behind the enemy if I did want to either cut off the enemy's rotations, or if my team was pushing the front still and I could go behind to surround the enemy and then force him to pick one angle, and then he'll likely get flanked on the other end and get killed by your team. So those are the basics of Reyna's abilities, and we'll now go into some of the detailed aspects of playing Reyna. In hindsight, Reyna looks really strong. A lot of people think that she's overpowered due to these healing abilities. She can heal, she can teleport around, and she seems to have this blind and crazy ultimate along with her kit. But the small picture that people aren't getting is that she needs to get kills in order to do this. Without any kills, the only ability she can actually use is her blind. So in order to be a good Reyna player, you need to be, again, the person who goes in front and is grabbing those frags so that you can use her other abilities. Otherwise, you're left with 2 Leers, and that's all you have to work with. So if you're not the player that wants to go in on the action head on and frag out, Reyna may not be the most effective agent for you to play. So know that if you are playing Reyna, you got to be ready to go ham to deliver those kills for the team. With that all out of the way, we'll go into some of the buys you can do with Raze, and also what her gameplay looks like overall. On the pistol round, there are 2 options you could do. You could purchase the Ghost plus Leer and then 1 on Devour, and the main goal with this setup is to try to get a kill and then use your heal to get the armor that you need. You could also go the safer route and get light armor and 2 blinds, which will really allow you to be aggressive and push onto sites or defend sites with those blinds. This is usually the route that I would go, as that extra blind can really come in handy to push a choke point or to defend the site. From there, the Leers again will be your main way of engaging the enemies and getting your kills, so make sure that you're throwing them before you peek an area where you think an enemy is going to be. Throwing them through a wall is usually the best way to catch an enemy off guard with it, and it helps to have an extra player or 2 as well to peek with that Leer so you can further overwhelm the enemies. From there on, it's really simple. Get the kill, heal up if you need it, and if not, you can use dismiss to scout for enemies and then back off and kill them some more, or reposition yourself elsewhere. Those are the essentials for her abilities. And lastly, with her ultimate, you can use it pretty early into the round as well, as it lasts a pretty good chunk of time, so you don't have to really rush in. That was my initial impression doing this, that I had to just rush in and go ham, or the ultimate would just quickly fade off. That is not the case, but there is still a timer for Empress though, so if you don't get a kill after a while, the ultimate will end. So it can be a good idea to just hold off just a couple of seconds, try to get a little bit closer to the enemies where you think they are positioned, and then utilize it. But again, don't be too close, as again there's this animation period before you actually go into the ultimate state. That's all I have for this video. If they helped you out, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Again, we are going for 400 likes, and comment again on what your thoughts are on Reyna. I think she's kind of a mix in the middle. I don't think she's overpowered, but I also don't think she's underpowered. And again, she only has one ability unless you go aggressive and get your frags. Alright, that's all I have for this video. I'm Dr. Zora, helping cure you from being a noob, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.